Hello, coffee people. My name is Irina Sharipova, and I'm a coffee consultant, professional, and educator. I'm a host of the podcast Coffee Business in the Middle East, where we discuss everything related to the coffee business with coffee business owners, coffee shop owners, green coffee traders, and with coffee professionals. In the first episode, I speak with Frederick Warrens, a general manager of Grandmother Roastery. We discuss about challenges running a micro-roastery, about customers' loyalty, and how to maintain healthy environment at work. Hello, Frederick. Welcome to the podcast. I'm glad to have you here. And before we start, so could you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into coffee roasting business?
Thank you, Ira. Thank you for inviting me on your podcast. I've been listening to the other episodes, but inviting me here is very special and I'm very honored. Thank you. First of all, my name is Freddie. I go by Muyewa and sometimes people call me Warrens. I work with Grandmother Coffee Roasters. And to talk about my background in coffee, and it's a long story, but I'll cut it short. Started in a cafe where I just got myself stumbling in the evening looking for a drink and ended up meeting a barista. And it has been coffee from that moment, coming from a stock taking industry to coffee. It wasn't easy, but the person I met, the barista I met by that time, made it easy for me and made adjustments according to where I was coming from and who I was, and of course, friendship kicked in. And I was a barista for a few years, 2.5 years. I joined a few competitions back in Uganda, and got an opportunity walking into roasting places, being curious, wanting to know what exactly coffee was. And continued my journey. I started trying to look at coffee in different angles, whereby it's not just about knowing what roasting is, but actually doing roasting. So I started off with UCDA. So whoever is listening, I'm very sure if UCDA like rings a bell in their mind, they're like, okay, it's from Uganda. So this is like Uganda Coffee Developmental Authority.
Oh.
So I was very lucky enough to walk into their premises, and that's where I started my roasting journey. Second place, got connected to another big company that was also trying to get paperwork done in Uganda, in UCDA. So they introduced me to their facility. This is Great Lakes Coffee. They are the biggest green coffee exporters in Uganda. So I worked with them on a temporary base, whereby I was just working in sample roasting. Moved to Burundi as a roaster, opening up a roasting facility in Burundi, which is also a coffee producing country. Got an opportunity to work on farms as a quality control at a washing station level. At the same time, setting up barista communities and, of course, associations in Burundi. And after that, started up something in Uganda, which is freelance, something I was doing by my own. Which was an exciting journey, and that's when I realized there was more to coffee than just trying to make money out of it. It was more of promoting and educating and trying to characterize yourself as a coffee professional. And that's what it was when I got a call to come to the Middle East in 2015.
Wow.
And the journey actually kicked off in 2011. So in 2015, I was lucky to have received a call to come in this place and start doing other things rather than just being at the farm or running my own thing. And that was as a barista, but at QC level. And now I'm like the general manager and green coffee buyer with Grandmother Coffee Roasters.
Awesome. What do you think, what differs you from another roasteries in the UAE? Like, what is the concept behind Grandmother Roastery?
Oh, that's a very nice question. So, Grandmother, we try to look at coffee roasting and as a business, but at the same time as a craft. So, we try to craft our coffees in a way, in the same way we want to grow. So that's like the difference when it comes to how concepts are coming up. I look at everyone wanting to start a coffee business, maybe to make money, but not looking at the craft of the actual business, which
Yeah.
is roasting coffee. So yeah, that's I think that what makes us a little bit slightly different. I'm not going to say way different because there are some really amazing roasteries here, roasting some amazing coffees. But I think the way we approach roasting is what makes us different.
Well, what is it about? Can you tell a little bit more details about it? Like,
Okay.
is it like specific roasting profiles, or you stick to the specific farmers where you buy coffee from? Like, what's unique about that? Because eventually, of course, we ended up roasting coffee, yes.
Yes.
But what is it behind it?
Okay, the approach to the coffees, how we roast the coffees is more of like first we pay a lot of attention to the raw material, which is the green. We like having relationships, and these relationships, and we don't guarantee long term or short term, but we create something that is sustainable for both the business and the people we're working with on the other end.
Yeah.
So while sourcing raw material, we try to source like high-end coffees, coffees that represent grandmother and how we want to be represented after 10 years. So meaning that we're going to pay premium, we're either going to pay slightly higher just to get a coffee. And once we have these coffees, it now goes back to the preciseness in roasting. Are we approaching these coffees to the dark side of it? Are we keeping these coffees on the lighter side? Are we being in the middle? So that goes back to the profiles depending on where we sourced the coffee.
Great. Yeah, so as I understood, you choose great beans. You try to sustain your relationship and you try to maintain the quality, right? And
Yes,
what
please.
else you're trying to do? Like, of course, the team stays behind the quality.
Yeah,
What is it about in your company?
Yeah, you mentioned team somewhere in your
Yeah.
question. So that's very important actually, because I don't think I can pull off something for the last 5 years by myself. I have a very strong team. I would say I have a strong team that is funding the project, that they 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 like being away from the business, but also I have a team that is always fronting clients, always working closely with me. So while we're choosing people to work with at the roastery, we're trying to go for personalities, character. There are things we cannot train,
Yeah.
though we feel like the other things when it comes to how we want you to roast a coffee, we feel we can train you that. We can train you on how to test coffee, but we can't really personalize you and make you like grandmother blueprint.
Yeah.
So it always goes back to people.
Yeah.
So we choose people that are willing to learn,
Yeah.
people that are eager to learn, and people that are willing to work with a team. And those are the people at the front desk. On the other side, when it goes back to the raw material, the way we work with producers is not like we are picky or we are choosing the most famous one, or we request for samples just like any other roasting business. Try coffees, keep communicating, look at potential, look at the challenges that we might face, and look at way forward, let me say, insights, and maybe if they can give us like a hand on how to get these coffees here, and also work with our terms of payment. Comfortability sometimes comes in. So I think it's more of like paying attention to those details, whereby who you're working with, how they relate with their people, and the people you have on ground or the front desk at the roastery,
Yeah.
which is more of like we like a character, and the character we're looking for is always the attitude, like positive people. Yeah, I think
Awesome.
that's most of the things that we pay attention to. It's not like a lot, but for us it means everything.
Yeah, true. I understood about coffee choosing, about the team. Of course, this is essential part for doing business. But do you have any long-term relationship already with the farmers, like who you worked with, like for many years? Yes, I understood with the team. Yes, it's more easy maybe to maintain relationship because you're like with them in person. But speaking of farmers and producers, how it is with you?
Uh, for the farmers, we've had some amazing relationships. Yeah, I would start with our main coffee, like our main offering, which is Brazil. So we haven't sourced anywhere else besides Calmo Coffee.
So you stick with
Yeah,
this
yeah,
company only.
we stuck with Camo Coffee, and they've been amazing. They have a great team behind the desk. The logistic teams have been amazing, and yeah, I think they have like I don't want to talk much about them, but I know it's one partner that we would like to push our relationship with for many years. The coffees have been standard, like they've been kept to the standard. Uh, we've had maybe coffees run out when we really want them, but their options have been even better than what has been, going on. So when you're working with someone like that, they give you that perspective of like tomorrow is going to be brighter than today. So that, yeah, Como, and then I'll bring in Project Origin. Yeah, we've worked with them for some time in the early beginnings and humble beginnings of Grandmother. Project Origin was
Yeah.
like our backbone because we used to get everything from them.
Wow.
They are not producers, but they are connecting with producers. So those are like partners like we really appreciate and we front, and we want to work with them for as long as we can get something from them. Yeah. I would say in Ethiopia, still Project Origin is connected, but right now, of course, we have EDN, which is like a green coffee producer. So far, it's been 2 years. They've been very good, and we're still having that very healthy relationship, good coffees. I would say 90 plus. Those ones from day one. We've not changed our exclusive supplier.
Okay.
So those ones have been amazing. Of course, their coffees had a wave in this region. Everyone loved their coffees, and we were very happy that everyone enjoyed the profiles that we were trying to push out there.
Amazing. And by the way, regarding profiles, like which is the most popular coffee profiles it's being sold in your company?
When you
What
talk-
people prefer? Which coffee taste?
This region has been changing and growing. So if you're dealing with a growing community, you expect people to have a change in taste. But I would say naturals have been consistent. We've had a few years where coffees have gone to the anaerobic side.
Yeah.
We had the CMs in this market that
Yeah.
had a wave on the market. But yeah, I'll keep it with naturals. This market enjoys a natural. They enjoy low acidic coffees, and yet they also enjoy fruity coffees if they are roasted very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, the natural profile is like everything for them.
Okay, I see. That's interesting topic because of course, tasting is being changed worldwide. Yeah, because what we consider to be delicious and balanced 5 years ago, now, oh my God, I wouldn't say that this is delicious, right?
Exactly.
It's very interesting to see, but still, what is, in your opinion, we have to seek on? Because there are lots of experimental processing which are not sometimes sustainable. Yeah, how to promote good quality of coffee and also not to confuse the just normal consumers, because of course we have our own bubble of coffee professionals and we can understand and differentiate the quality, like what is the
Exactly.
good anaerobic or bad anaerobic, because also it happens. But how, what are your thoughts about it, how not to confuse consumers, because we are working for them?
Okay, that's something really. That's a good question actually. So we've been trying to put implementing a few ways to educate our like end user. So at the cafe level, I always push baristas to be very transparent about the process of these coffees, and also to be open-minded to try these coffees and trying to find recipes that suit these profiles. So the first thing, I think with the consumer, they need to know what they're drinking. That's the first step. If it's a natural, explain to them what a natural is. If it's a fermented anaerobic natural, walk them through how these coffees were processed. So at least they have expectations. You don't have to surprise their palates.
Yeah.
And then at the back of it, you need to get feedback.
Yeah.
You need to know if they like these coffees or they don't. So for me, it's always about educating the end user. But before we educate the end user, baristas on the other end have to be very educated on different coffees. Because I think the challenge roasteries are facing right now, or the challenges we used to face, right now I think we're trying to fight the habit, whereby when you have anaerobic naturals, you push them to a cafe. The first day they're using these coffees, you have a ton of complaints.
Oh.
And then the complaints are not even directed to the taste of the coffee, but it's a visual part of it, where a barista calls you and is like, some of the beans are dark roasted and some of them are light, and then they don't get the whole thing behind processing and the effect of roasting these coffees that are anaerobic processed. So all that has to go through maybe a chain of maybe education. How I'm educated from the producing side, I should also do the same as a roaster to the baristas, and baristas have to push the same information or even make it better when they are communicating to the customers.
Yeah.
So to me, the best way for consumers to enjoy these coffees is first being educated about them, and then telling them why this coffee was done this, and why not a natural, and why not a washed coffee, because some coffees are not good as washed coffees. We've faced that as coffee professionals, but for a consumer, they will never understand that part. So if we educate them, I think we're going to be on the same page. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the great term. I always believe in education. So as I understood your approach, you start with your team, right? So educate and invest in the knowledge of your team. And then your team is transferred to your clients, and also the clients who you have in your bar, and also your clients who buy roasted coffee, right?
Exactly.
And how do you promote your coffee? This is my next question. Like, how do you promote, and which channels do you use to reach the customers? Okay, you have the base, I think, after 5 years already of the company. 6, yes?
Yeah, it's coming to 6 now.
Yes,
6 strongly,
Definitely you have your base. But of course, coffee business, it's all about growth, right? Which channels do you use, and how do you promote your business?
Okay, about promotions, we've not been so active on social media, and everyone who loves Grandmother Coffee will tell you that. It's such a bummer, and I feel really bummed out. We're not really good with social media and all that. But if you ask me how we've been promoting our coffees, it's through how we roast coffee has been our point of promotion. So we want people to enjoy our coffees without an influence of Freddie coming to you convincing you the coffee is good. So you come to the cafe, try the coffees at the cafe, at the roastery, you enjoy the coffee, and then you purchase a bag, we follow up on a feedback. It's going to be either a phone call, we want to know how you enjoyed your coffee. But the first step was investing a lot in how we source the coffee and paying attention to how we're roasting these coffees. So knowing that a good product is going out sometimes gives you that feel that, you know what, I can sit back a little bit and try to follow up with the feedback. So that has been the approach. But the other approach is through word of mouth. We've had some amazing people that have tried our coffees, and they've made the noise, which has been amazing. And they're making noise from their pockets. You know, I like that kind of attitude where someone enjoys a coffee and then they're talking about it, they're making like a few reels about it. It's something that sends a message that the coffee is good, but then it doesn't give you that feel to not promote your brand. So we're trying to promote it, but the promotion has always been on the quality side. So how we roast coffee, because that's like in our mission,
Yeah.
like how we roast coffee will define where we're going to be the next year. So that's always been our attitude.
That's interesting approach because some companies they invest a lot in the visual part, like how great and cool they are. It's also nice, yeah.
It's
But you
really
have
nice,
yes,
yeah.
you have different approach, which is interesting to speak about. Also, what I noticed here in the UAE, sometimes when you go to the coffee shop, when you ask a barista about which beans do you use, and they say it's private label, or they don't say anything. Or they say it's our beans, but actually, I mean, me as a coffee professional, I understand that, of course, it's not you roasting; it's some of the
Someone is doing
roastery.
the job, yeah.
What is your opinion about private label thing and how to change this? I think to me it seems like a problem here. The issue in the UAE market, like people hide the info about the roastery. Let's discuss about it.
Oh. About that, yeah, like when I first got in, I would take you back a few years ago. When I first walked into this market, it was like seeing different coffees from out of UAE. And then when people started roasting, they got that name that they're roasting coffee. And for me, it was the start of the wave. So the wave started off well, where people are proud to sell a coffee. But then as the market started growing, people started opening cafes. So when people started opening cafes, they started having this whole pride and, of course, feeling like they don't want to use what someone else is using. So they want to private label in a way whereby they're now closing out the roastery that is doing all the work, because as a roastery, I will never try to private label a coffee without attaching a producer. And I feel like it's my obligation to promote the producer because that's how you grow. Like that's how he grows actually. Because you're making them famous, you're getting their coffees out there, you're promoting them on the other side. And as a business, it's a win-win. You're taking good coffee, you're talking about it. Maybe one of your clients who had a cup of coffee is going to be my next client as a B2B client.
Yeah.
But with this community, we need to go back to how we found it, how intense it is, how sensitive it is. So from that point, sometimes when someone says, we want private label, I'm like, it's okay, but could you do us a solid and say that we roasted your coffee? But if you don't feel so, it's still okay.
Yeah.
And I'll try to understand. I know it's blocking away, it's taking away credibility if the coffees are good, and it's taking away I would call it accountability if the coffees are bad. Because if the coffee is not good, it's only the cafe that will complain.
Yeah.
But I want when people that are drinking coffees complain. I like it. I like to get a complaint from a consumer.
Yeah.
I like to hear that kind of feedback because it says a lot about where you're sending your coffee. It's either it's your role as a roastery to go jump in and maybe educate the baristas, or maybe the problem is with the beans, pull out the beans and try to do something. But the moment I'm not on the label, then I'm going to feel like I'm not responsible for what happens.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge, and I think it's okay to private label, but
Yeah.
I think it's still very professional to private label and say buy.
Yeah.
You can private label a brand and say by Grandmother.
Yeah.
It says a lot. You're going to get feedback, and there's going to be a lot of troubleshooting in case of any issue,
True.
which will fix a long-term problem of quality. But we're only looking at everything at short term, and then we forget that long term, these coffees are going to be in the market, and if a bad coffee is still in the market, it's not good for the market's growth.
Yeah.
We're not seeing specialty growing or coffee in general growing if we're still serving bad coffee.
True.
Yeah, the only way specialty coffee is gonna grow is if good coffee is everywhere.
Yeah.
Because for me, I feel like good coffee in a few places and then bad coffee in other places, we are still running under bad coffee.
Yeah.
So good coffee everywhere is good coffee for the whole place. I feel like I can have a good coffee here, a good coffee there, and I need to know the roasteries. It's always good to know who roasted a good coffee, by the way.
Yeah, true. I absolutely agree
very
with you.
good. Like
Yeah.
it feels good every time I try to drink a good coffee somewhere, even if it's not by grandmother. I feel I always give that kind of compliment, feedback. I tell them, and I tried a very nice coffee.
Yeah, because to me it looks weird when there is no name. It's just a label, a logo from a coffee shop.
That's better if it's not a plain bag. I've seen.
Yes, it's very strange because in my
Yeah.
country, for instance, it's impossible because by governmental law you have to put where it was produced, like the address and the name of the company. Without it, you can't even use the product because it must be with certificates. Maybe it's still not transparent here, I don't know. But yeah, I think you said very good words. We need to
I
have
think
feedback.
with a growing market, those are all challenges we're going to go through. But if we, like given time,
Yeah.
I think in the next 5-10 years, this market, I feel like it's not going to be allowing anything that is coming from outside to promote the coffee here, and something you've just spoken about will be implemented. Because right now we have coffees coming in.
Yeah.
You can get roasted coffee from everywhere.
Yeah.
But we're going to reach a point whereby we operate like some of the biggest, some of the Europeans' biggest markets, whereby no foreign roasted coffee is allowed. They allow the raw material, but they don't allow roasted. There's some markets like that.
Yes.
So that's the thing. So I think giving it time is a growing market. We're going to reach a point whereby every coffee bag has to be labeled and also approved by municipality. So if you're doing private labeling, it has to have by grandmother, by a certain
Yeah, I agree
roastery.
with you. It's what how I
Which
used
is
to
going
work.
to be like it will be a good thing. It will be more of like a transparent thing, whereby
Absolutely.
we're transparent about origin,
Yeah.
transparent about the people behind the coffee. We know the producer, we know the roaster.
Yeah.
And that's what specialty coffee is about, transparency.
Exactly, and especially my main concern is about consumers, because when they don't know about information, like just if they see the label of the cafe, they don't care. And still, what we need to do, we need to grow the industry, right?
Yeah.
And without any info, without knowledge, and we can't
I've
grow.
heard that a lot. Like, where do you get your coffees?
It's our coffee.
Secret.
This is insane. Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
understand, but I
Yeah.
hope let's do some changes.
No,
Yeah.
sometimes the funny part is like, boss told us not to.
Crazy.
Yeah, which is insane. Like, if it's a good coffee, come on, I need to know where it's coming
Yeah,
from.
why
If it's a
it-
bad coffee, still as someone who's spending money on a coffee, I need to know where it's coming from.
That's weird because
Yeah.
why it's only about coffee. No one hides the logo of oat milk. Everyone shows.
Exactly. We showcasing.
What's the difference?
Yeah. It's the same thing. Almara is in every cafe,
Yes.
and we see it.
Yes.
And no one is talking about that. But then when it comes to coffee, which is like a product that it's like people are investing a lot.
Yeah.
I know people are investing in these milks as much,
Yes.
but there are emotions when it comes to coffee.
Yeah.
So if I drink a coffee, I may turn out like I'm emotional. I want to know where is this coffee
of
coming
course,
from.
of course. And I think, especially currently, people really concerned about the quality, the content of a product, where it comes from. That's why we have a growing industry, like F&B industry in general. Yeah. So we should stop hiding info about roasteries, please.
That is going to stop. Like I know a lot of people would like think it's a good thing to keep, because I think they're protecting. It's like a blueprint that they don't want other businesses to see, but I think that is what is stopping us from growing.
Exactly. But if you're afraid of it, why you do this?
Why you do it? Yeah,
You should be proud of it, right?
exactly. If you're taking a coffee, you should be proud of it and talk about it.
Yes.
And if you're working with a certain roastery, it is okay. They need to get their flowers. You need to give them their flowers rather than taking them away.
True.
That's what I would say. But I think as a growing industry, there is a lot we haven't really done or achieved. But as we grow, as we stumble into all these mistakes, we're going to learn like valuable lessons tomorrow.
Yeah.
Valuable lessons that are going to push at least the UAE coffee industry to a certain level, to a level whereby at least we can compete, and not just having the most expensive coffee, but the most amazing coffees at an affordable price. And the only way we can do that by being open about how we source coffee, how we sell coffee, or how we roast coffee, and how we should sell these coffees.
Yeah.
So it will go back even on prices. I've seen some amazing green coffee importers that openly tell you where they're getting their coffees, how much they're paying for a cherry, how much they're paying
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
And when I see stuff like that,
This is high
I
level.
feel like that's high level. You can't do it here. You may do it here, but how many people are going to appreciate that kind of attitude? And once it's out there, are you gonna gain market, or you're gonna lose clients because they think you paid a lot? Maybe you paid a premium to the cherries, you paid this, so you're ripping them off, which is not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a level, really.
No. It's
Yeah.
like, I think it's like a growing industry.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Okay, so besides private label and all of this stuff we discussed, also what other challenges have you faced running the coffee roastery?
Wow, that's big. Yeah, there is a lot of challenges. On the outside, roasting business looks simple. In theory, on paper, it is simple, really simple. You just need money, warehouse, green coffee, and then you're set to go. But in reality, it isn't an easy industry. It's challenging. It has its own challenges whereby you can't just maneuver yourself around in a day or a month. You need time to actually understand how to go about each challenge. But right now, I'll just talk about the challenge in terms of how to sell roasted coffee, how to buy roasted coffee, green coffee. So with green coffee, let me start with the raw. Green coffee has had its challenges. You're either dealing straight from the producers, there's been delays, and then of course expensive green, and then given the market and what they are willing to pay for a certain coffee or a coffee from a certain region. So those are all challenges that you're going to face. It's either you forego them, or you just go ahead and get the coffees and then work on how to sell these coffees. When it goes back to roasted coffee, we are working in a market that is saturated with a lot of roasters. I'm not, it's not, there are a lot of roasters. I'm not going to mention names or what, but you're competing with people that you feel like, okay, when you look at the price of green in the market, or the C market, it's unreal to find a price, that kind of price in the market. But it's only like when you look at you look at the global market, it's only UAE that turns out to have cheap green coffee. Like expensive green coffee and cheap roasted coffee. And I've tried to get my mind around it, and I've failed. I don't know how that works, but there is a lot that goes into that to manage to sell cheap roasted coffee. And challenges of low-graded coffees being saturated in the market, and the competition from the commercial side. That is the challenge with specialty. So specialty coffee roasters are facing the commercial market side, whereby there is a lot of people that are still stuck in the commercial side that we need to convince to come this side. So the convincing side is a challenge. The other challenge will be still with cafes. The other challenge is cafes not having the right people.
What do you mean, like managers or baristas?
I would say from managers, baristas, the right people to handle roasted coffee, whereby there is good coffee that is supposed to be in a certain cafe, but it's not there because of certain reasons, reasons that are not even quality, um, like they're not about quality, they're not, but it's not about even ethics or what, but it's more of the people that are there. It's like maybe they're not either, I'll put it this way, they're not okay with a certain roastery, or there is something they need from a certain roastery so that their coffee gets into the cafes. So you feel like it's a market, very young, growing, but people trying to take something for something.
Yeah.
Which is now, it's like right now, it's like the current situation is like the biggest challenge to run a roastery, because you have really good coffee, but you can't sell it to a certain clientele or market, because the baristas here expect something to come from the roastery. And the way Grandmother has been operating is like we like growing with businesses. So when we say we like growing with businesses, and that's already in our platform, we like to grow with businesses. That's the only way to grow. And that's the only way we understand that the only way we can grow is when cafes are growing. So how are we going to grow if I'm going to take away a certain amount, give it to one section of the business, and then what? Someone is growing, the business is not growing. So what we do, either discounts or what, those are already, those will go directly to the establishment. This is the cafe. So whatever the cafe does with it, it's not on our end. We give you a good coffee, there is a discount on top of that, so you handle that side. But in businesses where baristas are going to make those decisions, which is a good thing. I used to like it when I first got here. Baristas used to make decisions on where to buy coffee, and this was very ethical. Trust me, 4 years ago, you could buy coffee from a roastery, and it's too transparent that you're testing these coffees to make sure the coffees are good. But right now, it's not even about testing the coffees. The question has gone from how was the coffee? How did you find the coffee when you're trying to get feedback from samples or the testing? Now the question is, how much percentage do you want?
Yeah.
Which is very sad from my point, my point of perspective. Like I feel like it is taking the industry another 4 or 5 years back. We need to re-strategize and start moving again. And before this is fixed, whereby it's no longer about the quality of the coffee to be in a cafe, and it goes back to percentages, to under the table money, because back then it was education. Like a roastery promises me education. I'm excited as a barista.
Yeah.
We used to get excited. I know whoever is watching me and is listening to this, they know how we used to get excited when a roastery says, you guys have a workshop at our roastery. We used to get excited because we knew that's how we're going to make our next check. By educating ourselves, we were making our next check. Right now, baristas look at their next check to come from a roastery. They're working for a cafe, but the roastery pays part of their salaries, which is absurd. Like I feel really sad, and it's no longer like it's no longer a rumor. It's out there. I'm very sure some of them know exactly what they're doing. They know it's wrong. And also, the other challenge will be like roasteries being part of that. I'm not going to talk about baristas here. I'm talking about roasteries trying to be the one pitching baristas for commissions or for small favors, short-term favors. That's also something. That's a challenge. And then the other challenge on selling on running a roastery is like, of course, it will go back hiring. Right now, it's really hard to find passionate coffee people if it's not about money. So it's out of passion. So now people want to be hired because of how much you pay, and they don't look at going to places to learn. So it's more, that's like a challenge. Hiring comes with a challenge whereby you talk to someone today, the next thing you know, they're being hired somewhere, they're not happy, but the money is good.
That's insane. I cannot imagine that. I mean, of course, money is important.
It's very important.
Yes.
Very important. Don't rule that out.
Yeah.
Very important. But there is a way to grow money. There is
Yeah.
a way to build that. Because, we've all come from beginnings where
Yeah.
it wasn't money, it's been passion. Even up to now, I feel like I'm still passionate about coffee. And sometimes, I forget that I need to make money.
And always remember where you come from. Yeah.
Like from where we come from, I'm like,
Yeah.
it used to be about passion. And all
True.
that.
I also remember the beginning of my career. I didn't care much because it was my summer job. I was like, I just want to learn. And then it became a big passion. And it's where I am right now. It's amazing. But I hope, because I'm like kind of optimistic, I do believe that if we will have more passionate people who can, how to say, to be contagious to the other people with this passion, and encourage to find new opportunities to compete in competitions and learn about coffees. Because I remember like 10 years ago when I started, there was no any info, there was no any specialty, but somehow we tried to to work hard.
And everyone is part of it. Like I keep telling baristas, like, you don't see yourself as part of this whole movement, but trust me, the fact that you're serving coffees, you're serving a flat white, you're serving an espresso, you're part of this movement. Trying to promote good coffee, trying to promote awareness, because one cup, that's how we've been moving from day one. It's been one cup at a time. And it's still the same thing. It has never changed. There is someone doing something at the farm level. There is a guy at the logistics side trying to fill in paperwork so the coffee gets here. There is a guy clearing the coffee. There is me who's going to stand behind and roast the coffee. The guys, everyone is doing something. But why is it that there is this one person who wants to just take a shortcut of things? And so I think moving forward, coffee shop owners being involved in what really happens.
Yes.
And baristas being accountable for how these coffees get into the hopper, or how they want their customers to look at them and look at their image. I think they should be accountable for who they want to be next 5 years, because these are like short-term gains, which to me, they don't add up. Trust me, it's like short gain. You come to me with that conversation. I've had that conversation and I cut you out right away. Like, we don't have a conversation. I'll tell you, I will lose the account. Good luck. And then roasteries. We have like a responsibility to the market. We are buying green coffee. We are trying to create the best storage or best places for these coffees, roast these coffees, pack these coffees, only to go and start pushing the word commission instead of the word quality. Try my coffees and let me know. You understand? It's no longer like that. Now we have coffee, and each coffee you take, we give you 5 dirhams. So it has gone out of quality. So roasteries are also played that part, though people don't want to mention about it. But to me, as much as people want to blame the baristas that are taking the commissions, let's also start from where they're coming from. So that's how you kill a snake. You cut the head. So by taking off the head, we're protecting the tail.
So what do you think is the solution? Like, to speak more with the coffee business owners, like to open their eyes, or when it's going to be finished?
I think the best approach is to face the baristas. The baristas have to know that this is out there, it's happening, and then trying to account them for what they're doing, and also try to educate them on how to grow, because I think they're missing a part. They don't see like a clear channel on growth as baristas, so they just want to make something very fast, so they go out. So that's what they're seeing. They don't see a career growth in the positions they're in.
Yeah.
And also educate cafe owners or managers on trying to know, like push them to be more invested into their businesses, day-to-day operations. They need to know where the coffees are coming from. They need to have that relationship with their suppliers.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to be surprised with is like you've been paying 200 dirhams for a coffee, but actually that coffee, your barista has been taking 40 dirhams. That's the last thing an owner wants to know after a contract of 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very sure some of them have gotten these baristas who are doing this, and some of them have lost their jobs. And I don't think, they've learned their lessons the hard way, but it shouldn't be the case for a lot of baristas. It's easy to learn from someone else's experiences, so you do better. So I think it's the whole chain. We need to educate ourselves. We need to educate baristas. We need to streamline, and at least owners need to have a plan for baristas. I think that's the biggest problem with this, with the region. You hire a barista and you want to keep them baristas, there is no growth. So every time someone feels like they are not growing, of course they're going to switch the mindset. The passion is going to be crushed.
Yeah.
So there is no, we've not created ways of nurturing passion. All we do is take, like owners will take, because they're taking that energy. You're working every day, you're making the sales, but there is no future for you. So that's a scary position to be in. I've been lucky enough. I've never stayed in that position for so long, because every time it was like I'm thinking of something else. And I was supported by the owners that the people I've worked with. They've supported me, because every time I mention, like, you know what, I'm curious, I need to know how these coffees are roasted. They're like, I know place, I'll take you, and if you want to study there, I'll pay. Like, I was happy because I did my coffee trainings in Uganda with UCDA, and when I wanted to like grow as a good barista, have like maybe a basic skill barista course, I was sent to Domans in Kenya, all facilitated by my that time boss, the guy who used to run me around. It was like, you know what, go to Domans, I know someone.
Wow.
A call away, I was in Kenya for a few months, came back, and I was motivated. I wanted to educate everyone. So that's what is missing here. I feel like when people are hiring, they just hire someone and they will keep them there to make money. They don't, because there are challenges.
Nice, yes.
And them taking these small short-term gains, sometimes I don't want to blame.
True. Wow, that's a big topic. That's interesting. And this is the reality of the market, and I do believe that we must know it, promote that, guys, this is the reality and we need to do something with that.
And the other challenging thing about this market, when it goes back to running a roastery is expensive. Now we're going back on machinery.
Oh,
it's expensive.
Yes, it is.
Everything attached to roasting is very expensive, from education to the machines. So that's a challenge, and a lot of people have been facing. I've seen a lot of people making bad decisions on which machines to choose in the beginning. So that's already a challenge there in the beginning, and then they end up wanting to sell it off, whereby you can't sell it off, and then you end up you're in a loss. So those are all challenges, but we can overcome those challenges if consultation is there, like right consultation, meeting the right people. So I would say that is part of also the challenges, and maintenance, having the right people maintain machines rather than getting someone on a plane from Netherlands, drop here. So that is also like something here. So it has also been a challenge. Machines breaking down where you have to wait for at least 2-3 days. I think that's it.
Okay, I see. By the way, on Instagram, You have the Instagram, Grandmother. It's really nice, actually. I've seen the photos are great.
Yeah.
And I've seen in one of the posts, it was written that Grandmother Roastery, it's a micro-roastery,
Yeah.
coffee business based.
Yeah.
So my coffee micro-roastery, what is it like? Until which amount you call yourself a micro-roastery? Do we have any definition between a roastery, micro-roastery, commercial roastery? Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Oh, that's very nice because I thought about that while I was driving here. I knew you were gonna ask that.
Okay.
Yeah. I am ready for that. Like that one, I'm ready. Yeah.
Please.
So we keep calling ourselves micro roastery because that's who we are. Like the way we buy coffees, we try to go for micro lots. Like we don't go for whatever is out there that to pick. We are going to go for something that is slightly different in that sense of sourcing. And then in the sense of the business, it's still a micro business, whereby anything to me that is under 5 tons is still micro. Because with that amount of coffee, you can still trace your quality, easy on inventory. So anything that is easy to, like something that you can easily get your eyes onto, for me, it stays to be micro. We are still a small business. We would like to go commercial or go like in terms of numbers, not in terms of the product. But that's where we are right now. For us, micro means anything less than 5 tons on a monthly, like what you're roasting on a monthly basis, you're still micro. You're still small, and that's how we are designed. We are a micro roastery dealing with micro clients. You may look at the clientele that we are running. It's always like these niche entities, places where people are willing to pay a premium for coffee. We're not chasing for everyone. We are chasing for places where coffee is appreciated, celebrated, and treated in an ethical way.
Yeah.
In an ethical way whereby baristas are educated, baristas are open-minded, and we've been lucky enough that most of these places we are in touch with the owners. I have that kind of relationship with the owners, meaning that it's so micro that I can work with my team, bring them even closer to these owners. So to us, it's still micro. And
Okay, but do you have a goal to have a bigger, to be a bigger roastery?
that's still a pipeline plan. We look at growing. We love to see bigger numbers than 5, and maybe by then we shall remove the word micro.
Please. Yes.
Yeah,
And
but
you
for-
just a roastery.
Yeah, we'll be like grandmother
roastery.
roastery. Yeah. But right now we are grandmother micro roastery.
Micro
Like,
roastery.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we do pipeline plans are there. We are looking at growing, not only in UAE, but we want also break borders and try to be in some cities, some big cities in Riyadh or
Do you supply, by the way, in any country or only in the UAE?
yeah. Right now we're doing it, but on a minimal. We're doing it on a very minimal, whereby we work in Saudi. We do have like a few clients, 2 clients, I think, and then Oman, Iran, the other small Jordan, Bahrain. Yeah. So we have clients that are coming in just to source some of our coffees. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. I also want to know, like, for you as a general manager, what is the key to be a successful roastery? Okay, so what do I mean? Like, we want to be successful, but we are humble to call ourselves successful. But what are you, looking for? Like, what is the definition of success for you for a roastery? Because it's always like a big stress to run a roastery, as I understood, to have a great team, like decent team, passionate. Okay, you have a nice base of the customers. What else? What is the definition of running a successful, sustainable coffee business?
That needs to be a recipe. You need to create a recipe, and for us it has been already like raw material, roast it the right way, choose the right team, and choose your clients. That's how we've been looking at it to be called successful. though we feel like we haven't reached our goal, there is a lot of potential. But at the moment, those are the key elements. You work with the right raw material. These are the right people, producers, and all that. And then you're roasting these coffees in an ethical way, and a way that suits the market. And you're not taking away, you're not actually putting all the energy being invested in this green to trash by roasting these coffees the wrong way. So we try to pay attention at maybe preciseness when it comes to roasting. There is passion into that. There is we are too ambitious when it comes to, or curious when it comes to profiles. We can pick coffees from producers, and we try to change how people are going to taste these coffees. And the way we've been choosing the team, we choose a team that we want to grow with. We're not a roastery that wants to work with someone for 1 year and try to look for someone to work with the next year. So we want to see that kind of growth, and it's something that I've been trying to pick from a lot of other businesses, not just the coffee business, where people are being hired and then they grow into chains and they grow into ranks. So you see someone grow, and these are the people that are giving you the actual results, the people that started from down here. I would feel bad if I lost someone from the team. So that's like, for us, success. Keeping someone for more than 3 years is also success. Having clients that have been with you for more than 5 years, that's success when you're running a roastery. Working with producers for not just like one batch, but for more than 2-3 years, that's still success. I think that's like been the recipe: raw material, roasting coffee the right way, and choosing a team that can support you.
Exactly.
Reach your potential.
To successfully running the roastery, you need to be sure that your team is having the job satisfaction. Do you maintain any like special environment for them? Maybe do you treat like in a different way, because lots of roasteries here and everyone has different approach to the team. Someone formal, someone informal. Which work vibe do you have?
I think we're trying to blend in those two. We have that informal part, but the formal side plays the first stage when you're getting into the company. But then once you're into the company, we don't want you to stick to descriptions. We want you to be yourself. We want you to enjoy your surrounding, like the input from your other team members. So you're free. Like we try to create that freedom that you're a barista, and we teach you, like we're going to educate you. We're trying to give them like SCA trainings actually, so to facilitate them with education. But after facilitating you with education, we want you to put that education into use, because now you're a barista. Where do you use your education? Educate the what? Educate the clients. So I think we've created an environment where it's okay to be pissed. It's okay to be mad at someone, and you don't have to die on the inside. We've created that environment. You don't have to die on the inside, and I've created an environment where like we have to be more than just workmates. We need to be like a solid family, a family that cares about your problem is going to be our problem, because you not performing or underperforming, it affects all of us. So we try to come through. I think that's how I've created it. It's not like being like a whole micromanagement whereby I need to follow you up on a batch of coffee. No, it's a system. Let's follow a system, because that's the formal side. We have emails. Open your emails. Make sure that you receive the order. I receive the order. The guy who's delivering the coffee received the order. So we try to create also a system that allows us even not to talk to each other when we're busy. So you just see everything somewhere, and then you just go dispatch or start your thing. Whoever is setting up for the production day, they know they have to set up, so they have 3 hours, you know that. And then you find the other guys, because of the environment, they'll jump in because they think it's a lot of work, because they've seen it in the group, they will jump in. So we've created something like that. It's more of like informal and formal.
Wow.
environment. We've not had really bad hires, and I'm happy. We've lost some good people. I'm sad, but yeah. Sometimes it's the right time someone maybe to fly. You feel like the wings have grown, so they need to fly.
It happens, yeah, it lives. It's life.
It happens. So you need to
Yeah.
deal with that.
Okay, interesting. Also, I want to know how would you describe the coffee roasting business like currently, and what is the future of it? Do you see like we need more roasteries, or what will happen with the market? Because I'm curious about it, because to discuss the future, it's it's
It's
tricky.
very tricky.
Yeah, you never know, but like to suggest what's gonna happen, and in comparison with the present time. Okay, we now have like a little bit saturated market.
Very saturated.
But what will be eventually with this?
I think like the future is like I look at the UAE market and the roasting business in general is going to be flourishing in the next few years, but that's if we deal with the issues at hand at the moment. And I don't think right now there is a need for a lot of roasteries to open. I think there is a need of education in terms of how we should roast coffee, in terms of how we should source coffee, and also encourage a lot of roasteries working together and understanding what this market really wants. Because roasteries working together doesn't really take away clientele.
Yeah.
It just creates trust from the clients. The clients will trust all of us at the same time. So I think if we really try to tackle all the challenges that we're having right now, that a lot of really shitty coffees into the market, roasteries opening up with nothing, not intentional to progress specialty, but to make money. If we change that kind of attitude, where roasteries are opening to promote good coffee, to share good coffee with this community, and bring in good vibes in terms of taste buds, we expand our taste buds to really good coffee, rather just politics of I like this producer, I don't like this producer, stuff like that. If we try to tackle that now, I think UAE will be one of those top ranks in terms of specialty coffee. But the need of roasteries opening, I feel like there are more roasteries than cafes at the moment. That's what I'm feeling. Like every day, I'm someone texts you with, 2, 3 roasteries, and I'm like, are there new cafes? Yes, cafes are opening, but if we focus on the current roasteries right now and promote really good coffee, I think we can sustain this market. Like the roasteries at the moment in this market can sustain this market even for the next 5 years without even a roastery opening, because I feel like everyone has potential, but we need to invest in education. And then, of course, tackling the other issues, logistics, and we need to also streamline logistics for green. And of course, DMCC made it even easier. There is green coffee everywhere. So that has taken, I think, DMCC being in position has led to a lot of roasteries opening. I don't know if you ever think about that. Because they are in position, so everyone feels like we should go. No. The thing is, a few roasteries that are doing really well should keep doing well, and the ones that are struggling should invest more on understanding who to sell the coffees to and how to educate themselves on what the market really needs. And we all still learning. Like me myself, I keep learning on where to sell my coffee, who's my next customer, and of course working on my B2B clients, the ones that I have. So that's the thing, like, it's work on the ones you have, trying to learn on the new market and see how we progress in the next 5 years. But I think to be flourishing if we learn.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. If
I
we
couldn't
learn.
agree more. Yeah, absolutely true.
We are not educated. Like I feel like there's something really missing.
Yeah.
When you look at other markets, how they educate consumers,
Yeah.
we are not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True, true. I have another question. Do you remember any memorable event which has influenced to you to stay in the coffee industry? And you like, maybe it was a funny story and you're like, oh, this is my industry and this is what I love about it. Some funny story is, or not funny, but memorable for you.
For me, it's always that how I got into coffee. It's always going to be memorable.
Yeah.
It has never. It's not going to change. I still laugh about it. I still get excited. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm here, and I need to face the reality. I'm in coffee.
Yeah.
So, like I told you, I started in a cafe. So I used to go to this place to drink in the evening. After work, I go in, have like a shot or whatever, a beer. And I used to have this conversation with barista, seeing amazing lattes being pushed out. Because in the night, some people are drinking coffee. And I could see him draw stuff on cups, and I was fascinated. So I asked him, how do you do that? And started telling me, and I found it funny. And he's like, do you want to try an espresso? And I'm like, what is an espresso? I used to drink cappuccinos, and that's what I know. I never had them. So I told him, okay, let me try. So he gives it to me, one sip, told him it tasted like shit. I didn't like it. So what I did, I had a Zappa shot. I don't know if you're familiar with Zappa. So I just added the shot into Zappa. I didn't waste it. So I added it into my liquor. And this guy got pissed. That was like, and he's like, do you want to work as a barista at some point? I'm like, who's a barista? Everything was a question for him. I'm like asking him questions. So that curiosity that I started with, and then I told him, you know what, I have a contract job. It ends in 3 months. So after 3 months, you're going to see me here. So he thought I was joking. So I showed up and I'm like, so where do I start?
Wow.
He's like, but you know how much we pay? Because you haven't even spoken about your wages. So that's when I realized that was funny, because he was saying it with a smile. And he thought it was funny because he's telling me $15 a month. No, $50 a month.
Oh my God.
I'm like, a month? You know how much I earn a day? So I told him how much I was earning in my job a day. Told me, man, that's what they pay, especially for you who knows nothing. So I was like, you know what? I'm working 3 months. I came here, I have some money, so I'll support myself. Don't worry. I want to learn.
Wow.
So he told me right now there is nothing to learn because I'm preparing for a barista competition in Bogota, because he was representing Uganda. By then, the barista championships were going to be in Bogota. So
Wow.
I was like, okay, so what does a barista competition look like? He told me, walk around with me. So I was the guy who was helping him run around the farm. I actually got to know about the farm in my first month as a barista.
Really?
Yeah, I got to know about the farm. I saw a roasting facility. So I was excited. All this was new. But that first day was the most funny part. So when he told me $50, I was like, maybe he's kidding. So I worked. I was there in the cafe doing nothing, just giving him cups and trying to pretend like I was doing something. And then later when the bosses came in, I asked them, I was like, excuse me. And they're like, oh, so Robert, this is the new guy. It's the new guy. They were from Netherlands. So they're like, oh, he looks young. I said, yeah, he seems to like coffee. So I want him to learn. Okay, good luck. So I asked them, excuse me, is it true that you guys are paying $50? And they're like, yeah. I was disappointed, but I was happy. I was learning something new that wasn't as boring as my job at that time, because stock taking requires you to report at 8 and stay with very diplomatic faces the whole day that are not smiling. serious faces, and then you leave, it's like an electricity company. So everyone is busy. You're dealing with engineers who are focused on fixing something. So I was like, no, I'm too playful. I can't work here. I'm the jokey one. I like joking around. So I was like, this is not my place. So I was waiting for a reason to leave. So I felt like, let me try this. I like it. I feel fascinated. So I started. That's like my funny story. Like that's the only story. The other stories have been amazing. The other one I would say, when I was in Burundi in 2014, I made an AeroPress to a producer, and the faces, I had never seen genuine smiles and excitement from people that have been growing coffees for generations, being excited about their own product. So that was like an emotional time for me. Like I felt like there is a need to promote good coffee, because when I looked at them, they've never seen filtered coffee. So it was their first time seeing coffee being pressed. Everything was new to them, and I was happy too seeing their faces. So that's also
That's memorable and
up
so
there.
sweet.
Yeah, that's also up there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And last question will be about advice would you give to someone who wants to open a coffee business, any coffee business, roastery, a coffee shop, supply of green beans? What would you say
Uh,
for a newcomer?
for a newcomer, I think invest a lot of time in research, education, and then trying to create a community that you want to stay in. I'm talking about connections, but it starts with research. You need to educate yourself on the kind of business you want to get into. If you want to start a cafe, then you need to educate yourself on the cafe business, and then also educate yourself on the barista side, because that's the base of your business. You want to start a roasting business, sometimes you don't have to go all the way and learn everything, but consultation, like use the right consultants, and try to hire the right people. Like maybe if you don't want to be involved, then you have to pay for someone to do that, the donkey work, the setup and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me it goes back to research. Take your time, do enough research, get those connections, make those connections, try to be involved, like on the like be fully involved the first year of your business. After opening it, your first year, like I always like tell myself, like your first year is like everything. Like that's when you know that you're going to finish the 999 days. It's like a business thing where people say if you've made it from 999 days, you can make it. So the first 360 days will tell you that you can handle the next 600 days. Yeah, so that's for me the essence of like, okay, I want to get into coffee business, then I need to educate myself on business first, and then as a barista, I need to know what my baristas are going to go through. So you relating as a business owner to what the people you're hiring are doing, sometimes it creates a very beautiful environment, an environment that inspires the people that are working for you. So I think for me, that's like the most important thing. You being a leader and knowing exactly what you want, it's an inspiration to the people below you. Yeah.
That's brilliant advice.
Yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm out of questions, and this
okay.
is time for your self-promo. I think
okay.
you have something for our giveaway, so tell us what you have and show us the package, please.
I have something. I have a tote.
Wow.
Whoever will take this tote, beautiful tote. The back, of course, there is a guy trying to pick some cherries. Of course, it's Arabica, very short trees.
Yes. Okay. What's inside?
So, there is a drip box. Right now, I'm enjoying the Peru. I like this Peruvian coffee, like that Lady Silva. It's an amazing coffee. It's a wash process. So a
Okay.
lot of chocolate notes, but of focusing on the almonds that are coming through, slight fruitiness and the vanilla touch at the end. And then, of course,
Oh,
something
wow.
from Fezanda
I like
Satao,
your
and this is
package.
thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So this is from Fezanda Satao, and this is of course the longest producers we've worked with. So I came through with this anaerobic because I felt like this is the first time we're trying to go natural anaerobic with Brazil, and people are giving us this vibe that these are like it's a different Brazil where everyone expects chocolate. They're getting some slight papaya, mango like coming in. They're like, okay, this is really good for filter. So I think that's something for someone to take away. And of course, there is a
Wow, magic
beautiful.
box. Oh, wow.
There is a Sudan Rume. There is a Sudan Rume for you, and this is from Cafe Granja, Esperanza from Colombia.
Yeah.
And these have been producing our exclusive coffees for the last 2.5 years. And of course, whoever is in a size S will
Too
take
many
that.
goodies.
Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, and for having that, we will have a giveaway for our new subscribers and for someone who will write down comments.
Okay.
Yes, amazing, amazing. Thank you for that.
Thank you so
and
much.
Thank you for that you joining us today. You gave us lots of insights, and it was interesting to me also to hear from your expertise. Like you've been like many years in the coffee industry, many years in the UAE. It was
I
fantastic.
feel young every year.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel young. Every time I hit like, oh, I'm 10 years in the industry. Damn it.
Yes,
Yeah,
I don't like to say that, but same here, same
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Thank you so much. It was fantastic, very interesting, thoughtful conversation, and I hope our listeners enjoyed that as well.
Thank you for hosting
Yes.
me, and thank you for the kindness. And you asked me to talk about, I would say, so this is like, I'm Frederick from Grandmother, don't forget. And the other thing is like, you can always walk through the cafe, like the roastery. We do have a small cafe where you can always sit, work. We actually welcome people coming to work. We have a workspace at the roastery
Oh.
while we're doing our donkey work at the background. In the background, we have a very beautiful space for people to work. It's very quiet. So we
Yeah.
try to keep everything machines at a low, like the machines are well maintained, so you never hear any noise.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a thing. So, we're located in Al Qudri in Al Qudri, just besides Masafi Park. So whoever is looking for a place, of course, Google pins are everywhere.
Yeah.
You can check out our Instagram for location.
Sure.
And
We will pin
our
all
web-
the info
our
about you.
website for any coffee orders, or if you want to talk to someone in person. We're always available actually. Sometimes I say 24/7, but no. We're always available.
Awesome.
Yeah, the
Awesome.
website is always there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this, and thank you, of course, for the hard questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, that's it. And it was a podcast, Coffee Business in the Middle East.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on our YouTube channel, Coffee Business in the Middle East, also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts to stay updated with future episodes. And for our giveaway, we will choose a winner amongst our followers, and amongst them, who will leave the comment below. We appreciate your support. Please leave us a review and share this episode with your colleague, friends, and fellow coffee enthusiasts. Thank you for the listening, and we will catch you with the next one.